If only she knew what her husband buried under their marital bed, she wouldn't have slept peacefully.
Listen carefully is not a story for the faint of heart. There is a woman named Amara. She is not a careless woman. She is not a foolish woman. She is the kind of woman who wakes before the sun, ties her wrapper tight, and faces each day with both hands open. But one night, something changed. It was past midnight. The whole street was quiet. Even the dogs had stopped barking. Amara lay on her side of the bed, eyes closed, body tired from another long day. Then she heard it. 3 slow knocks from below the bed, not from outside the room, not from the wall, from below, under the mattress, under the wood, from the floor itself. She froze. Her heart stopped moving. Her breath locked in her throat like a stone. She pulled her feet slowly toward her chest, away from the edge of the bed. Her toes touched her husband's leg. She opened her mouth to call his name. Then Tunde screamed, not a shout, a scream, like a man who had seen his own death standing in a corner. He shot upright, grabbed her wrist, and said one thing, "Don't touch under that bed." But Amara and Tunde were not always afraid. Let me take you back. Not long ago, they lived in a single room on Bunkhole Street. The room was small enough that you could touch both walls if you stretched your arms wide. The ceiling leaked when it rained. The floor had no tiles, only cracked concrete that held the cold like a grudge. Their neighbours fought through thin walls. The landlord knocked every month, like he owned their peace too. Tunde would sit on the bed's edge, head in his hands, counting money that was never enough. He was a proud man. That was the problem. And the pain. He could not stand the way the market woman looked at Amara when she bought on credit. He could not stand the laughter when the generator man made jokes about their power bill. He could not stand how the children on the street ran faster when he called them, because he had nothing to give. Poverty is heavy, but for a proud man, poverty is worse than heavy. It is humiliating. It sticks to your skin and follows you into the room at night. Tunde lay in the dark many nights, staring at the ceiling, asking himself one question, how long? Shadi was Amara's oldest friend, a small, sharp woman with eyes that missed nothing and a mouth that said everything. She came to the water tap one Thursday morning, while Amara was waiting in line with her yellow bucket. The sun was already hot. Women talked, quarrelled and laughed. Children ran between legs. Shadi pulled Amara aside. "Have you noticed Tunde lately?" she asked. Amara shrugged. "He's just stressed. Things are hard." Shadi shook her head slowly. Stressed men look tired. Tunde does not look tired. He looks restless, like a man who is waiting for something. Amara did not answer. "He has been going out at strange hours," Shadi continued, "coming back with things he cannot explain, talking about people whose names I have never heard from his mouth before." "You are watching my husband too closely," Amara said, and she smiled to soften the words. But Shadi was not smiling. "A hungry man can follow a bad road," she said quietly, "if the road shines." Amara carried her bucket home. The water sloshed against the plastic. She told herself Shadi was too suspicious. She told herself Tunde was a good man. But Shadi's words stayed. They settled inside her chest like small stones. The woman arrived in a cloud of perfume. Tunde saw her outside a filling station where he had gone to look for a contact. Gold heels, cream blouse, dark glasses so large they covered half her face. She moved like someone who had never been told no. Her name was Auntie Ankem. She looked at Tunde the way someone looks at furniture they are considering buying. "You," she said, pointing one finger, "you have the face of a man who only needs access." He did not know what that meant, but he did not walk away. She explained slowly, like teaching a lesson she had taught before. She needed extra hands for an exclusive event, well-dressed men to serve, stand, circulate, look the part. She would pay well, but more importantly, she said, removing her glasses, "You will meet people, the kind of people who change lives." Tunde looked at her hands, gold rings, clean nails. Everything about her smelled like the life he was hungry for. "Poor men stay poor," she said, putting her glasses back on, "because they do not understand the game." She handed him a card and walked away without looking back. Tunde stood at the filling station, card in his hand, heart beating fast. The event was in a house with chandeliers that looked like frozen waterfalls. Tunde wore a borrowed shirt and shoes he polished 3 times. He walked through the gate and stopped. He had never seen anything like it. Soft music, round tables with white cloth, men laughing with their whole chests, women draped in fabric that caught the light. He served drinks, he smiled, he moved through rooms, but his eyes were always watching. He noticed things others did not want to notice. The men arriving in cars they did not own, the woman whose designer bag was peeling at the seams, the photographer who was paid to make everything look bigger than it was, staged photos, arranged handshakes, borrowed confidence. None of it was real. And yet, one photo of Tunde standing near that crowd got more attention online than 3 years of honest work had ever received. Auntie Kim found him later near the bar. She was holding a glass of something gold and sparkling. "You see it now," she said. She did not phrase it as a question. Tunde looked around the glittering room. He saw it. Fake, borrowed, performed. But what he also saw was this. It worked. Tunde came home that night with expensive food and a new lightness in his step. Amara looked up from the small stove. She said nothing at first. She watched him the way you watch weather that hasn't decided what it wants to do. "Where did this come from?" she asked. "I got a deal," he said easily. "A contact. Things are moving." She wanted to believe him. She was so tired of suffering that believing him felt like drinking cold water on a hot day. She set the food out. They ate together for the first time in weeks, without silence filling the room. Then Shadi knocked on the door. She came in, sat down, and looked at Tunde with that quiet, careful look she had. She asked one question: "Who gives this much to a struggling man for free?" Tunde laughed and said she worried too much. He changed the subject. He made a joke. He refilled her cup. But the question stayed in the air long after Shadi left. Amara washed the plates that night, thinking. Tunde was already on his phone, typing fast, smiling at something she could not see. She chose silence. She did not know that silence was the first door she opened for trouble. Auntie Kim brought Tunde to Chief Balogun at a small private dinner. The chief was a large man with quiet eyes. He did not shout. He did not joke. He spoke slowly, like every word cost money, and he expected you to count it. He studied Tunde across the table before speaking. "And Kim says you are observant, that you watch without being told." Tunde nodded. "I need people like that, people who can move quietly and say nothing afterward." He leaned forward. "You can rise fast in this world, faster than you imagine, but it requires 2 things. He held up 2 thick fingers, loyalty and silence. Tunde looked at this man. His clothes were simple, but everything about him was heavy. Power sat on him like a second skin. "I can do that," Tunde said. The chief studied him 1 more second. Then he nodded and returned to his food. Auntie Kim touched Tunde's arm under the table, a small, satisfied touch, like someone who had delivered a package successfully. Tunde drove home, feeling something he had not felt in years. He felt like he mattered. He did not yet understand that the chief did not see a man who mattered. He saw a man who could be useful. Auntie Kim told him the truth one evening over pepper soup and cold drinks. She said it plainly, like someone reading a list. The circle ran on dirty contracts, deliveries that were never documented, favors owed between people whose names were never written down, blackmail quietly kept in folders, people used, squeezed dry, and then dropped when they had nothing left to offer. "Nobody enters this world clean," she said, wiping her hands on a cloth. She looked at him. "You can leave now. Go back to your 1 room and your kerosene smell and your wife buying tomatoes on credit." He said nothing. "Or you can stay and be smart about it." Tunde thought about the room on Bankhole Street, the landlord's knock, the market woman's face, his own reflection in a cracked mirror, looking like a man who had given up. He thought about the chandeliers. He thought about the way people greeted the chief when he walked into any room. Then he thought about Amara, her tired eyes, her worn wrapper, all the suffering she had swallowed without complaining. He told himself he was doing this for her. He told himself that was the truth. He looked at Auntie Kim and said, "I am staying." Money came like rain after a long dry season. First a small payment, then a bigger one. Then Chief Balogun sent a message that a business contact was looking for someone just like Tunde. Within weeks, Tunde paid off the back rent. He bought Amara a phone with a clean screen. He moved them from Bankole Street to an apartment with smooth tiles, a ceiling fan, and a door that locked properly. Amara cried when she saw it. Happy tears, the kind that have been waiting so long they come out suddenly and without warning. Neighbours who once mocked them now slowed down near their new gate to look. The same women who whispered about their struggles were now asking Amara what her husband was doing. Online, someone posted a photo of Tunde outside the new apartment. People praised him. They called it a glow-up. They called it proof that hustle works. Tunde read every comment and smiled, but Amara noticed something in those first nights in the new apartment. Something small, a scratch, like fingernails dragging slowly across wood. It came from below the bed, just before dawn. She listened, then it stopped. She told herself it was rats. She buried the thought and went back to sleep. But even in that new apartment, Tunde was still an outsider. He dressed better. He spoke more carefully. He drove a cleaner car. But the rich world kept its doors half open for him, never fully wide. At Chief Balogun's gatherings, men barely looked at him when he spoke. At Aunt Nkem's events, women smiled at him the way you smile at someone's younger sibling. Present, but not counted. One evening, Aunt Nkem looked at his shoes and laughed. "You wore those last week?" she said, in front of 3 other women. They all smiled. Tunde smiled too. But inside, something old and painful moved. The same shame he thought money had buried. He began looking at Amara differently. Her plaited hair, her simple wrapper, the way she greeted people warmly, without knowing she was being judged. He started asking her not to come to certain events. "It's not your type of crowd," he said. Amara accepted. She always accepted. She did not know he was beginning to see their shared life as something to hide. She did not know that the man lying beside her at night was slowly building a wall between who he was and who he wanted to be. The wall had no gate. One evening, Tunde came home with a wooden box. It was small, wrapped in red cloth so tight there were no loose ends to pull. He carried it under his arm, the way you carry something that must not be dropped. Amara watched from the kitchen doorway. "What is that?" she asked. "Business documents," he said, not looking at her. He went straight to the bedroom. She heard the bed being shifted, then silence, then it being moved back. When he came out, his hands were shaking. Amara had seen his hands shake before, from hunger, from cold, from fear. But this shaking was different. This was the shaking of a man who had done something he could not undo. That night, she lay awake long after he fell asleep. She stared at the ceiling. She could hear him muttering, not to her. His lips were moving, but the words made no sense. He sounded like he was apologizing to someone, but there was no one else in the room. In the morning, she checked under the bed. While he was in the bathroom, she saw nothing but the smooth tile floor. She told herself she had imagined it, but she had not imagined his shaking hands. The night everything cracked at the party, Tunde did not see it coming. He arrived confident, new clothes, new watch, the kind of entrance he had been practicing. But halfway through the evening, 2 men from Chief Balogun's circle pulled him into a back room. Their faces were cold. A package had gone missing, a delivery never meant to be traced. Someone had talked. They looked at Tunde. He explained. He denied. He sweated through his new shirt. Aunt Nkem stood near the door watching. She did not come forward. She did not speak for him. She held her glass and watched the way a person watches a fire they started on purpose. They let him go. But the damage was done. In the car going home, Tunde gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles changed colour. He had believed they saw him as one of their own. He now understood the truth. He was a layer between the rich and their consequences. When something went wrong, his name would be offered first. He drove home in silence. He did not go to sleep. He sat in the dark of the parlour, thinking about a name Aunt Nkem had once mentioned quietly. Baba Oje? The road to Baba Oje was not on any map. A man called Lanre drove Tunde there past midnight. They passed 2 towns, then left the tarred road for a red dirt path that swallowed the headlights. Trees stood on both sides, like men who had been waiting a long time. The compound appeared without warning. Low walls, a gate of iron, and something darker. One small flame inside. Baba Oje was seated when they entered. Old, still. Smoke moved slowly around him from something burning in a clay pot. He did not ask Tunde why he had come. He already knew. "You want protection," he said. "You want the men who used you to fall. You want your name to carry weight." Tunde nodded. The old man looked at him a long time, the kind of look that goes past the face and into something deeper. "There is a power," Baba Oje said slowly. "It will do all of that, but it must live inside your home, under where you and your wife sleep." Tunde blinked. "Why there?" he asked. Baba Oje's eyes did not move. "Because power needs warmth," he said, "and love is the warmest thing a house holds." Tunde should have left. He did not leave. Baba Oje gave him a bundle wrapped tight in red cloth, sealed with something black at the edges. He gave him 5 rules spoken slowly, one by one, like nails driven into wood. Never open the bundle. Never tell your wife. Never allow prayer in that bedroom. Never let anyone dig near that spot. And never, once it is buried, remove it. If you remove it, Baba Oje said, what is inside will no longer be under the floor. Tunde carried it home under his shirt. He waited until Amara was deep in sleep, her breathing slow and even. He moved to the side of the bed. He pressed his hands to the floor beneath. He dug with a small tool, slowly, quietly, while the room slept around him. The earth under the tile gave way easier than it should have. A smell rose up, not the smell of soil, something else, something that had already been waiting down there, patient and old. He placed the bundle inside. He pressed the tile back. He cleaned the floor. Then he climbed back into bed beside his wife. She did not wake. She did not know that the bed she slept on had just become something's front door. After the burial, things moved like water rushing downhill. A man who owed Tunde money for 2 years appeared at his door the next morning. He was nervous. He paid everything. He did not explain why. Chief Balogun called and said the trouble at the party had been resolved. There was a new contract, a big one. It required trust and discretion. He believed Tunde could handle it. Tunde bought a car within the month, a clean one with leather seats that still held the factory smell. He dressed better. He spoke with new calmness. He walked into rooms and stayed, instead of hovering near the exit, waiting for an invitation. Amara saw the change and breathed. She thought the hard season was ending. She thanked God quietly in the kitchen while stirring soup, but at dawn she began hearing something. A soft scratching from below the bed, not like rats. Rats move with urgency. This was slow, patient, like something marking time. She checked under the bed one morning while Tunde was out. She saw clean tile, no holes, no dust out of place. She went back to her cooking, but the sound came again the next morning, and the one after that, only at dawn, only from below. Then Amara's body began to speak. She woke with bruises on her thighs, not one morning, many mornings, purple marks shaped like fingers, though no fingers had touched her in the night. She woke with her nails caked with fine red dirt, the kind that comes from deep ground, but she had not left the bed. She dreamed of a child crying, not outside, below, under the floorboards, a small voice calling from somewhere beneath the house. She told Tunde. He did not even look up from his phone. "You are overthinking," he said. She told him about the bruises. He glanced at them briefly. "You move in your sleep. You hit the frame." She looked at him. The man who once held her hand through every hard night was now brushing her fear away like crumbs off a table. She stopped talking to him about it. She started talking to God instead. She prayed in the parlour at night. She did not go back into the bedroom until she had prayed long enough that her fear felt smaller. But every morning, the dirt under her nails returned. Every morning, the bruises were fresh, and something deep under the bed was learning her schedule. Shadi came to visit on a Saturday afternoon. She brought ground nuts and eyes that missed nothing. She sat in the parlour, talking and laughing, but her eyes moved through the apartment slowly, over the walls, the corners, the doorways, When she stood to use the bathroom, she passed through the bedroom. She stopped. She said nothing, just stood, then crouched slowly near the edge of the bed. She sniffed. Her face changed the way a face changes when something does not make sense. She reached toward the floor. Tunde appeared in the doorway. No one heard him coming. "What are you doing?" His voice was not loud, but it was wrong, too tight, too fast. Shadi stood. "I smelled something, like soil, old earth." "You're imagining things," he said. "There is red dust on this floor," she said, pointing. "The workers tracked it in last week." She looked at him steadily. He stepped fully into the doorway, blocking it. "I think you should go," he said. Shadi picked up her bag. She walked past him without another word. At the door, she gripped Amara's hand. "That room is not right," she whispered. Then she left. Amara stood long after the gate closed, not moving. The internet loved them. A video Amara posted showing their apartment got thousands of views in 2 days. People tagged friends. Women commented that Tunde was husband done right. Men praised the glow-up, the new car, the transformation from nothing to something. A blogger called them one of Lagos's quiet success stories. Amara smiled at the comments. She replied to some of them. She posed for a photo Tunde requested near the car. Head tilted, wrapper bright. She looked happy. Inside the phone screen, she looked like a woman whose life had finally opened. She looked like proof that suffering leads somewhere better. But every night she smiled at the screen. The scratching waited below the bed. Every night she posed in their fine apartment. Something else was living underneath it. Her followers called her goals. Her followers asked for her secret. She thought about what she would say if she told the truth. Not the apartment, not the car, not the clothes. She would say, "I do not sleep through the night. I wake with bruises and dirt under my nails. My husband guards the floor beneath our bed, like it holds a body." But she never said that. She liked the comments and put the phone down. On the day the big contract was signed, a man died. Chief Balogun's driver, a man named Emmanuel. He had worked for the chief 11 years. Quiet, reliable, invisible in the way useful people are invisible. But Emmanuel had started asking questions about deliveries, about documents, about Tunde. He had threatened, quietly, to talk. 3 nights before, Tunde sat on the edge of the bed, too angry to sleep. He said the name aloud without thinking, almost like a prayer said backward. "Emmanuel needs to stop." He said it to no one. He said it toward the floor. The car crash happened on a straight road in dry weather. No other vehicle. The engine did not fail. No pothole. Emmanuel simply drove off the road into a ditch with enough force that he did not survive. The police called it driver fatigue. Tunde heard the news and sat very still for a long time. He had not asked for this. He had not intended it. But the thing under the bed did not work on intention. It worked on names. He walked to the bedroom slowly. He stood over the spot on the floor. His hands were cold. For the first time since burying the bundle, he was truly afraid. Auntie Ankim released everything on a Tuesday morning. Videos, screenshots, documents, voice notes, transactions photographed without Tunde knowing, conversations recorded on phones he had trusted. By noon, his name was on 3 blogs. By evening, it was everywhere. People who had praised him last week now called him dangerous. They called him a fraud. They called him a small man who thought money made him real. Brands that had quietly approached him disappeared without explanation. His phone rang all day, but not with good news. Chief Balogun did not call, not once. He was already in a meeting with new people. Tunde's name was not in that room. The chief had simply turned a page. The neighbours who used to slow down at their gate now stood in small groups outside, talking behind cupped hands. Amara sat in the parlour while it all collapsed. She did not understand all of it, but she understood enough. She looked at her husband. He was not crying. He was not broken. His eyes had gone somewhere far away, somewhere she could not reach. Then he stood up. He walked to the bedroom. He sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the floor. His lips were moving again. The revenge came quietly at first. Auntie Nkem's biggest client cancelled without explanation. A deal she worked on for months fell through overnight. Then her name appeared in a publication connected to the same dirty business she used to expose Tunde. People began to look at her differently. Her own allies started distancing. Tunde watched it from behind his phone screen. He did not smile openly, but inside something had settled, a cold, satisfied pressure behind his chest. He began offering more names near the bed at night. Not loudly, just words spoken downward, quietly, in the dark, while Amara slept beside him. Names of men who mocked him. Names of people who smiled at his fall. One by one, things began to happen to them. Small things first, then less small. Amara noticed him rising at odd hours, standing beside the bed in the dark. She had asked once. He said he was praying. She did not believe him, but she had stopped pushing. The man beside her was not the man she married. That man was warm, even in hunger, even in shame. This man was still, like water with no current, like something that had stopped moving on its own. Something else was moving him now. The apartment turned against them. The large bedroom mirror cracked from corner to corner one night while they both slept. No one touched it, no wind, no vibration. It simply split. The room developed a smell that came and went. Not dirty, deeper, soil after rain, the inside of something old and sealed. Amara started praying in the bedroom again, quietly, on her knees beside the bed. One morning she woke to Tunde shaking her hard. "Don't pray in here," he said. His voice was strange. She looked at him. "I will pray wherever I want in my own home." He stared at her a long moment, then walked out. That same week she lost a pregnancy she had not known she was carrying. The doctor said early miscarriage. He said these things happen. Try again. She sat in the plastic hospital chair while he talked and felt a hollow open inside her chest that had no name. 2 days later, Baba Oje appeared at their gate. No one had invited him. No one had given him the address. He stood outside, calmly, and told Tunde through the gate bars that the thing under the bed had started collecting what was promised. Tunde found Baba Oje at the back of a small bar near their estate. He sat across from him and asked what was happening. He asked what the bundle was doing to his wife. Baba Oje drank from his cup before speaking. He said the bundle was not just a charm. Inside the red cloth was a spirit bound to lineage, bound to bloodline. It fed on the future. When Tunde buried it under the marital bed, he did not offer a room. He offered a covenant. The bed where husband and wife sleep is where futures begin. By burying the spirit there, Tunde had made his marriage the gate, and every child that might have come through that gate became the thing's food. The wealth was not luck, it was borrowed life, life pulled from the unborn, from what Amara's body was meant to carry. Tunde sat completely still. "Can it be reversed?" he asked. Baba Oje looked at him without blinking. "It can be removed," he said. "But removing it is not free. The spirit will not leave quietly. It has tasted the house." He finished his drink. "Pray someone in your home is stronger than what you buried." Amara found out on a Wednesday. Shadi came with a woman named Sister Kemi, a prayer warrior with white cloth and bare feet, who walked through the apartment like someone reading a page. She stopped at the bedroom door. She said, "Here." They moved the bed together, the three of them. While Tunde sat in the parlour, his head in his hands, Amara knelt on the floor. She pressed her hand to the tile. She felt it, a warmth that should not have been there, a pulse from beneath the ground like something breathing. She began to dig with her hands. Then Shadi brought a small iron bar from the kitchen. The tile gave way. The earth below was loose. Inside was the bundle, red cloth, blackened at the edges. Beside it, small bones, a piece of wedding cloth, an anklet, small, silver, not Amara's. She sat back on her heels and looked at what her husband had buried under their bed. She could not speak. Tunde appeared in the doorway. His face was wet. He tried to explain. He said Baba Oje told him love makes the ritual stronger. He said he did it for them. Amara looked at him. She picked up her wrapper and walked past him. When they tried to burn the bundle in the compound, the fire took it fast. But the moment the cloth caught, Tunde staggered. He grabbed the wall. His eyes went wide and unseeing. He began to hear things no one else could hear. A child crying, the voice of Emmanuel, names of everyone he had offered to that floor. He ran. No one chased him. He simply ran from the compound into the night, down roads that turned unfamiliar beneath his feet. Amara stood at the gate and watched him go. She did not chase him. She did not cry. By morning, they found Tunde near the old dirt road that led to Baba Oyi's compound. He lay on his back in the red earth. His eyes were open and still. His hands were filled with red soil, like a man who had been digging. There was nothing more to be done for him. Amara left the apartment that same day. She left the car, left the clothes, left everything that entered their lives after the burial. She tied a simple wrapper and walked through the gate. She had nothing, but she walked straight, and for the first time in a long while, she heard no sound beneath her feet. What would you have done in Amara's place? Did Tunde deserve what happened to him, or was he a man broken by hunger and shame? Leave your thoughts below and share this with someone who needs to hear it.
If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to be reminded. These things quietly change the world. Another story is coming very soon. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching.